Hi, folks. How are all of you? As always, a pleasure to connect and speak with you about contemporary topics in life and careers. That is an area which probably you think is interesting for you. You should probably consider liking and subscribing to this channel. A very, very interesting topic, particularly given the fact that I come from a background as a headhunter and a senior recruiter. And one question which keeps haunting most of us, particularly at middle and senior levels, if you are a prospective candidate looking for assignments at senior and middle levels. How much should I trust my recruiter? Is a recruiter my friend? I mean, here a recruiter is a very, very loose term, but I'm talking about anybody who plays a liaison role between a company and you. On the one end, you have the employer, the other end, you are a prospective employee, and there is a recruiter or a recruitment firm or a headhunting firm which is facilitating the process of getting you hired for a particular role. So recruiters essentially become very, very inevitable in today's time and world. As I said, particularly at middle and senior levels, a lot of roles get hired only through recruiters. So it is very, very important for us to understand this dynamic that we essentially have to move through recruitment firms or executive search firms to get hired for senior positions. In fact, some organizations have clear policies that at the CXO, CEO levels, they'll only go through headhunting firms. Likewise, in the case of entry and mid-level roles today, it is a very, very judicious mix of hiring. They hire through multiple avenues. They hire from placing ads on LinkedIn, placing ads on Naukri, and if all those avenues get exhausted, I mean, also they hire through their own corporate portals, but if all those avenues get exhausted, then the logical recourse by the talent acquisition team of the organization is to probably go through a recruiter. So as a dynamic, most of these organizations, irrespective of their size, scale, the nature of the organization, the kind of industry they are in, at least as far as in India is concerned, have a set of empaneled recruiters who they work with and who they share a number of roles for which they need to hire people. So that is a dynamic, and particularly if you are looking at, if you're probably somebody who's got about 10-15 years of experience and somebody who's middle and senior professionals, essentially you probably have to move through executive search firms who are again designated firms to hire people who hire people at the leadership level. They call themselves executive search firms because they are working with organizations in helping them hire leadership talent, and if not leadership talent, at least one or two levels below. So this is the entire dynamic of how the recruitment business or the recruitment agency business is working now. So as a candidate, the most important thing you need to know or you need to understand is that it is inevitable to go through a recruitment firm today. And as I always say, in fact, I've stated in one of my other podcasts that if you are somebody who's a careerist and who probably are going to actively look for jobs once in 3 to 5 years, you also very, very clearly need to identify one set of recruitment firms who are good for your skills, good for your space, good for your career growth and things like that. So some amount of research will help. You need to probably speak to people and understand who are the best hiring companies for your skills. If you are in tech space, who's the best for tech in that particular geography. If you're a non-tech sales and marketing guy, who's the best for that. If you're a HR person, or if you're a marketing person, if you're a PR person, because today the recruitment business is also got very, very fragmented. You have a lot of niche players even in the recruitment business, and the same applies for executive search firms as well. Here, as far as this podcast is concerned, when I say recruitment, it means both recruitment as well as executive search firms who hire for positions which are at leadership level and maybe one or two levels below. So coming to the crucial question which is being addressed in this podcast is, how much should I trust my recruiter? If I am a candidate and if I have to go through a recruiter, should I probably divulge all the details, all my information to a recruiter, much more than what I would probably do if I am directly going to employ through the employer? The answer, the simplest answer or the probably easiest answer, and this is something which not many people have or who come from a recruitment background will tell you, is never trust a recruiter more than you will trust a prospective employer. So the thumb rule is you should share whatever information you share only to a prospective. I mean, to reword it, you can share all information comfortably to a recruiter the only information which you will share comfortably to a prospective employer. So if the recruiter tries to probe, ask for more questions, tries to explore your personal background, tries to find out why you are on a sabbatical, tries to find out your financial position, tries to get into unnecessary personal details, I think the first thing you should know is to draw a line and you say, so look, all those are irrelevant for our discussions. It is important that we probably keep this discussion restricted to the role on hand. You are speaking to me for a particular role on hand. Am I suitable for that? If I am suitable for that, I'll share my profile with you. You could probably put it across to your client and ask your client to consider. And if it moves to the next level, obviously in each stage I will come back to you with more information is required. That is the very, very fundamental thing, most important thing, which you need to keep in mind when you work with recruiters. Again, not many people who are in the recruitment profession or who have a recruitment background will tell you this. Entrusting a recruiter with much more information than which is required for a particular role on hand, going more than professional information, very clearly allow the recruiter to exploit that at some point in time. Again, this exploitation can be both intentional and unintentional, but either way, the problem is the moment that information gets exploited, the victim is going to be you. Because see, like for example, if I have to illustrate, if you tell the recruiter that yeah, I'm a good fit for this job, but I'm under a little bit of duress, I'm in a bit of a rush, can you probably push my candidature? Immediately he is going to make use of it and go and tell the client that, look, this is a desperate candidate, we can get him cheap. This is what happens because end of the day, the recruitment business or the recruiters, their loyalty is only to the employer and not to you. You should understand that very clearly. Of course, there are some menial recruitment firms which charge a registration fee for a candidate and things like that. I'm none to say that it is a wrong practice. Of course, everybody has to have the revenue streams. But yes, beyond that, if the recruitment firm is going to charge you a nominal fee for processing your candidature, I think beyond that, there's nothing more which you need to probably give him professionally give him or share him, make him private information which you will share only with the prospective employer, be it your current compensation, be it expected compensation, be it the limited amount of personal information, your personal background. So beyond that, don't try and get into an emotional attachment with the recruiter. It is very important. A lot of times as a recruiter, I'm saying this as someone who has done this. As recruiters, once we are privy to such information from a candidate, the first thing we do is to go and share it with our prospect client. Look, he's a right candidate, he's a perfect candidate, and he is under a bit of duress, so you can get him very easily. And that immediately will reflect nowhere else but immediately on the kind of compensation which you are likely to get. If you're going to get, if ideally the market condition is that you should get 20 lakhs per annum for your stature, for your competencies and things like that. If you broadcast this information and make the recruiter privy to information which is not at all needed, he is going to probably get you cheap. Maybe if you're worth 20 lakhs, they'll probably try and get you for 15 lakhs and make that as a bargaining point. The recruiter is not going to tell you that he has shared all this information with the client. It will appear as though it is a natural process and the client is immediately saying, look, we don't have a high budget, we will start on a low budget, and yeah, you can probably join us, we will give you a lot of other intangibles, and those intangibles will be much more worth than what you really are looking at. So never give room for this. And second thing is, most important thing is, never allow a recruiter to be a part of the compensation discussions. If you have to talk compensation, you need to talk only to the prospective employer, and at a particular stage, maybe after 3-4 rounds of interviews, if they mentally decide to make you an offer and they know that you are the right candidate, only then this discussion about compensation comes. And if the recruiter gets in the middle and decides that he will negotiate on behalf of the employer, you can straight away tell him that as far as compensation is concerned, you will only talk to the employer and no one else. It has to be only the representative of the employer. It can be somebody in the compensation and benefits function of the prospective employer. It can be somebody who is a hiring manager who is holding a brief to talk to you for that, or maybe somebody at the very senior level like the CEO or the managing director of the organization if you are at senior levels. Recruiters have this problem that they try and convey the impression that they are very powerful in the scheme of things of the prospective employer. They try and convey to you that they can push your candidature. They try and probably position themselves as very very exclusive recruiters for those positions which they are handling, but the fact remains that no position is exclusive to any recruiter. And if they give you an impression that they are probably very, very powerful in making the decision making hierarchy in the organization, that is a plain white lie. No recruiter has the ability to influence the final decision or hiring decision in the organization. As a matter of fact, a lot of these recruiters have a very, very limited network within the client organization. At best, they will be connected to the talent acquisition team or somebody who is the head of HR, and they might know one or two hiring managers just because they try to get more familiar with the role they're hiring for. So if they give the impression that they're extremely powerful, and if you don't listen or if you don't go by their words, your hiring could be at stake. That is a complete white lie. Your hiring will not be at stake because the recruiter chooses to probably not push you or not position you. So you need to keep this in mind, and this is a very, very important thing, because subtly all these things keep working in a recruiter's mind when you probably are looking at hiring for positions. So never divulge unnecessary information to a recruiter. Never engage a recruiter or get engaged with a recruiter who wants to talk compensation related details. Never show your desperation to a recruiter. And I keep saying this, in any employment cycle, when you are in an employment seeking path, never market your miseries, and that holds good even for the recruiter as well, because the moment you market your miseries, it immediately unintentionally or intentionally gets exploited by the recruiter. So these are some of the tips which you need to engage which you need to keep in mind if you want to get engaged with recruiters. As I said, engagement with recruiters is inevitable. As you grow in the hierarchy, grow up the ladder, essentially you probably will come to a stage where you have to get hired only through a recruiter. It can be a contingency normal recruiter or an executive search professional. So it is a necessary evil. At the same time, they are very nice people. Recruiters are extremely nice people. They will do their best to get you hired if you are the right candidate for the role. At the same time, they also have their vested interest to be protected. They only represent the client and they don't represent you. These are the things which you need to keep in mind when you deal with recruiters. And of course, your relationship with recruiters can be a very, very friendly note. But what I'm saying is, getting friendly doesn't mean that you have to make them privy to a lot of unnecessary information and also get too emotionally attached to them. Avoid that. Have it as a very, very professional relationship, and keep it in mind, or always bear in mind, that the recruiter is a representative of the employer and not you. And if you're going to get hired, it is because you're a right candidate. It is because they found you as a perfect fit for a particular role, and they will have to give you the right compensation, which is on par with industry standards. The recruiter has no business to come and negotiate and make your compensation lesser than what you will ideally get. So these are some of the things which are very, very important in today's job market. And as you will encounter more and more recruiters or headhunting professionals, it is very, very important to bear in mind that recruiters are your friends. At the same time, recruiters don't necessarily represent the best of your interests. Their only goal is to keep their clients' interests supreme. Thank you. I am sure you found this very, very useful. Share it with people who probably are in headhunting or wanting to get hired with organizations, particularly at middle and senior levels. I'll see you soon in another interesting podcast. Until then, goodbye from me. Consider liking and subscribing this video, and also subscribe to our channel, Simple Talks Good Life. Thank you. I'll see you soon.